$11 million in lessons in ad spend in the last 6 months, just in the high-ticket coaching industry as well. Should we talk about what we learned? $11 million in lessons in ad spend in the last 6 months, just in the high-ticket coaching industry as well. Should we talk about what we learned?
Yeah.
What do you want to start with?
For me, if I start thinking about like the people who we've not only just run ads for, but we've consulted with, one of the major things that kind of sticks in my head quite a bit is shiny object syndrome. And I know you hear a lot of people talking about that, but I think when ads started like to fatigue and ads aren't working and your results start to go downhill, like lead costs drop, lead cost increase, your CPA goes up. I think it's really easy to think, right, you need to make some major changes. And obviously there's a lot of stuff on YouTube, TikTok. There's a lot of kind of new ideas that people want to try. So I think shiny object syndrome's I don't like using the word mistake. It's like a trap people easily fall into.
Yeah.
And you just want to keep trying new things all of the time. Mm-hmm. Where a lot of the time it could just be such a simple funnel change, or it could be a simple ad change. It could be a creative change. Mm-hmm. So rather than doing like a major fix, it's a case of like, right, okay, let's analyze the data. What small changes can we make? And I mean, like, if you think about some of the things that we've done, they've had like incredible change, like incredible results. Mm-hmm. It has been the smallest changes that's had that effect.
Mm-hmm. That first thing that comes to my mind there was when we changed the headline. We used that Hemingway app that I use to write everything. We took the headline on the sales page, realized that the client was writing things in a postgraduate reading level. We brought it all the way back to a grade 4, I think it was. Mm-hmm. And it improved conversions by 55%, was it? 56%?
Yeah.
So just them simple little bits are, I think people just want it feels like people try too hard to make too big of a swing.
Yeah.
Instead of they want big changes from small actions.
Yeah. I mean, there's people we've consulted with on Facebook ads, and like a lot of our customers or people who we work with are inside a Go High level. And you can obviously, before we've been working with them, you can go back and have a look through like the funnel history and the amount of different funnels that people have had running, the amount of different things people have tested. It's insane. And I mean, we've been doing this a long time, and we've always found that having a simple funnel is what works. That's what we find.
Yeah. Easy steps, easy flow, easy, clear messaging.
Yeah.
Is always the key. And I think one thing that is really, really prominent is things that are amazing that come out, like the Hormozi books and all of the famous things are incredible resources. But when the masses start applying them, then things have to just culturally change.
Yeah.
Because it creates a change, because it creates a new norm. Mm-hmm. So then everybody, like when that Hormozi book came out, everybody benefited. If you read it, you benefited from it. It was amazing. It's absolutely unbelievable. Mm-hmm. But now consumers are used to insane guarantees that just feel like they're trying too hard. Mm-hmm. The headline formats and formulas that are in there, it's all copy pasted, and now everybody sees the same thing everywhere. So you need to stand out. And one of the biggest changes that we always make is making sure that it sounds real. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not like this over-promising, like, you know, if it doesn't work, I'll buy your house. That's so mental.
But some of the guarantees are absolutely
just
insane.
Off the wall.
Yeah.
Just off the wall.
The thing is, though, the Hormozi effect, if we call it.
Yeah.
I'm not jipping you, by the way, Alex, if you're watching this, because I do love your books. But the whole Hormozi creative style is something that we just see too much of now as well. I mean,
captions died straight away.
Hormozi captions, the fast popping up and all over. But I always find that if we call like if a bit of an editing change happens with his content, if you see everyone doing it, then you go and look at Hormozi's, you'll already see that he's already moved on to the next thing.
Yeah.
So everyone's like always like a few months behind what he's actually doing. And it obviously is working. He obviously spends a lot of money on his ads. He pumps out crazy amounts of content. Mm-hmm. But I feel like it's important that going back to like if you're a high ticket coach or a consultant, it's important to try and focus on what works for your customers and your avatar, not just necessarily the style. And if we talk about like the Hormozi content as an example, people would copy that thing and it was the transitions and the fast pop-ups that were actually working, where most of the time he's just talking real sense and he's pumping out real good quality, and that's what's making his content work, not necessarily all the changes. I mean, how much, I mean, we probably can't put a figure on it, but for what the people who we're running ads for, we've tested this style of content and it didn't work.
A lot. Yeah.
I mean, it didn't not work, but it didn't perform as well as just, if you give an example, like talking to the head, talking to the camera, talking head stuff. And to this day, that's still performing some of the best ads we've had.
Yeah, yeah. I think for me, the Hormozi stuff, and this goes to seeing something that, you'll see a bunch of likes on it, a bunch of comments, and people will make the assumption, right, that's it. That must be what I need to do next. I got to do that thing. But they see, I think the captions and the style of video tend to become a bit of a skin, and they forget what's under the skin. And the fact that Alex, I know I'm talking about Hormozi, but he does these things to present as content. Yeah. But the depth of the content underneath is phenomenal, and that's what people miss when they just blatantly copy it. And we see the same thing in ads all the time. Yeah. We'll order ad accounts and we'll look through things and we'll always see some of the latest trends, the latest creative types, but the messaging isn't there, the content isn't there, the depth isn't there, that cut through resonance isn't in the content itself, and that's why it doesn't work. Yeah, because it seems like it's trying too hard all the time.
So over the last 6 months, we've managed and consulted on a little over 11 million in ad spend. What common things are you seeing that, I don't want to say mistakes again, but things that people have been doing that aren't working, and what sort of tweaks or simple tweaks can people do to ensure that they're going to be getting the best results, or they're getting the best bang for the buck on the dollar?
I think the first thing is that simple ad account setup. And we've talked before about how these, big influencers in the ad space, you'll call it, will come out with this, all of a sudden they're saying this, what's the shiny new way to go? But actually, that's been the way we've been doing it for 3 years now. I think the simplicity of the setup is the main key. One campaign. I mean, we consulted on a client that we helped them with a new setup. One campaign, $90,000 a day in ad spend.
Insane.
From the setup that we implemented previously. What was it? 3-4 campaigns. Yeah. We couldn't get it to work. From 20 grand a day, all of a sudden, one campaign spending 90 grand a day. And they were shocked when the client themselves were shocked when we said, all right, because there's another standard, a bearing standard in ads, that in meta ads, that you should only increase things 20% at a time. But we got the setup so efficient, you were spending 20 grand a day. If you remember, I said, right, we can bump it to 40. And they were shocked that we could just double it. And actually, I remember this vividly. We bumped it to 40, and the 2 days that it went to 40 did better than the previous at 20. So it's the simplicity and a scalable setup. And what that looks like, we've previously called it our Thunderdome setup, but it's a CBO campaign or an Advantage campaign budget, or whatever it's called now. It's some crazy name for CBO, but budget at the campaign level, and then your ad sets that are organized by concept. Because the ad set, what people seem to do, and again, I think this comes with the skins and trying to people, there's YouTube hacks left, right, and center, but the bare bones of it is optimization happens at the ad set level, which means if we're going to run CBO and let the algorithm decide, all right, this is, I want you to decide where to spend this budget. We are never looking for one ad set to go nuts. And that's what people try and do. They try and make the best ad possible and hope that that's what scales them. But that should never be the goal. The goal should always be to make angles, ads, concepts that positively contribute to the overall campaign itself and the ad account, because people need multiple touch points. Yeah. You can't just see an ad and then go all the way through. You might be download a lead magnet, it's interesting, but then they're not going to go all the way through and sign up for your course or your high ticket program or whatever it might be. You need more touch points. So organizing ad sets by concept, different angles, seeing your face a lot. One thing that we always tend to see is people putting off creating videos with them talking to the camera.
Yeah.
People have got to see your face in order to start.
People are apprehensive about doing it.
Yeah, and I don't know why. You've got to.
We love it, right?
But you've got to. People need to see you.
Yeah.
In order to trust you.
It's that rapport and relationship that you build up through your content.
Yeah.
Like we keep talking about this on coaching calls that we're on, like with the weekly ones that we do, and people, if you haven't created video content before, people are apprehensive about doing it, but because people need multiple touch points, you've got to build up that rapport and relationship through your video content. And like some people try to scoot around it a little bit. Like I was reviewing a creative the other day for someone, and they've done the talking to the camera straight down the barrel like this, but they overlaid the whole video with B-roll because they didn't have the confidence to actually show the face.
Yeah.
So they cover the whole video, which is fine. You're getting the content out there, but your audience definitely need to kind of have that relationship. I mean, like the whole like influencer thing's kind of, I don't want to say it's dropping off massively, but it's now people much want to see a personality behind the brand. They want to see your face. Authentic, yeah.
Yeah, authentic.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's I think influencer content is led to inauthentic because now everybody, when influencer generated content first started, it got branded in the industry as UGC, but it's actually not.
Yeah.
So people, because regular people started to become influencers, if you had a few thousand followers, then the general public now know in the back of their minds that this person's being paid to say this thing. Now it's not authentic, which is why it's not working as well. Now it's why people want authenticity and why they want just regular people and real people talking. There's a new term being coined that's like customer generated content, so CGC, which is making sure it's an actual real person that's bought your service, like is an actual real customer, and then having those do it and go through the process, because that influencer stuff has just taken away. People know it's not real. People know that someone's being paid to say this thing, so the trust factor goes away, falls off a cliff.
Going back to what you were talking about the obviously you've got your budget at the campaign level, but then we'll let the kind of like the different ad sets, the different touch points, the different concepts kind of battle it out. I think it's important to go into a bit more depth about that because people do need multiple touch points. So when we're talking about concepts, what we actually mean by concept is like having a talking head video. It might be a walking outside video. It might be a podcast setup. But I was on a coaching call just on Monday, and this actually come up because one ad set was performing well and one wasn't performing well. And the question put to me was, well, the only difference is the first 3 seconds. The rest of the video is the same. And that's all it takes sometimes, is that opening 3 to 5 seconds to really hook in your audience, and the rest of the video can be the same. Now, people get into a bit of they find it difficult to pump out content, like coming up with the ideas, but when you get into a routine of it, it does become a lot easier. But one of the things that you can absolutely do, if you've got enough content, is you don't always need to be writing new scripts. You don't always need to be writing new content. You can use old video content, chop a hook off that's worked, a solution at the end, the back end of a video that's worked, and then you've now got a new video. I mean, you don't want to do that for everyone, but for old ads that have worked, fatigued, they've been taken off, they're not active anymore, you could look at that as a solution to get fresh content out there.
Yeah, that's a really, really healthy way to get a quick win, I think. I think it's so easy as well, especially if someone's pretty new to ads. Just change the first few seconds, look at your metrics, look at the thumb stop rate. Does it help? Does it change? I think on the concept level as well, I think there's variations that you can do in terms of visual concepts, but then the psychological and emotional concepts behind things. So, for example, making sure that in your ads, you are showing competence, you are showing the fact that you can do this thing. So your ads are talking about how you've achieved certain results, and that result being the thing that your client wants to achieve or your potential client wants to achieve, but then also showing them the real life who you are as well. And especially in your organic content, and this way that comes into play in your ads as well, because someone sees an ad that they like, one of the first things they're going to do is they're going to go to the funnel, have a look at this thing, this looks nice, whether they download the lead magnet or not, when they're finished, they're probably going to go to your organic profile and then have a look and just see what you're about. So making sure that you've got not just that how content on there, but and how you achieve things to show that competence, but things that can speed up that trust process. So being more vulnerable in the sense of showing real life stuff. So posting pictures with your family, whatever you're comfortable doing, showing that real life stuff in your content, but in your ads as well. It can be done quite easily. And then showing them stuff that's like conversations you would probably only have, or that people would think that you wouldn't want to get out there. So things like, you might want to call it like a hot take or something like that. So something that if me and you were like earlier, I'd said to you in the car, what did I say about what pisses me off about these influencers, ads people, is that, and I've mentioned it just earlier before, but these, what could be branded as influencers in the ad space, now preaching this new thing about this is what I'm doing now and it's really starting to work. But in reality, us behind the scenes and know what we're doing, we've been doing that for 3 years. And it's just getting that out there, because then people don't feel like you're hiding anything.
Yeah.
They can see the real you. They feel like they actually start to know you. And one thing that we found really works is, and I don't think this is for some people it's not natural, but if you can make people laugh, then trust comes down. Like everybody wants to, the popular person at the bar that's making everyone laugh, everybody wants to buy them a drink.
Yeah.
Right, because so trust comes down. So we call them our Pegasus scripts and whatever it is. But if you can make people laugh in your content, then the trust factor completely speeds up super fast.
The trust and being authentic, though, it's massive. Like, we were delivering that workshop in Austin. So we flew over to Austin, Texas. When was it? In February. And I had a long conversation with someone, because a part of the workshop that we delivered, we were talking about being authentic and trust. And the question that came up after the workshop had finished was like, well, I don't feel like I'm being authentic on camera. And I think it always comes back to is that you've got to believe in what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because if you don't believe in what you're saying, or if you don't believe your own process, or you don't believe in what you're actually doing, it's going to really come across on camera.
Yeah.
And as soon as people get that inkling where it's like, I'm not sure if they know what they're talking about, or I'm not sure that they're actually doing what they're saying they're doing, the trust goes out the window. And I think once you've lost the trust, I think it's almost gone. I think it's quite hard to recover with content, because they'll stop engaging with your ads. They'll not be going to your landing pages, your funnels, your organic stuff. And obviously the way the algorithm works, if they're kind of engaging in your content, they're going to start getting served more of your content. So that's why the trust, the rapport and the relationship through your ads, through your content, even through like your messaging, like it doesn't always have to be videos. It can be like carousel, it can be images, but just your content in general that you're putting out there. You've got to make sure that you're resonating, you're building rapport, the relationships in there, but people think you're authentic and they trust you. It's really, really important.
I think the word that I always lean to is conviction. Because you can't, somebody could tell you that they support a football team. I could say him over there, he supports Sunderland, for example.
I was going to say, don't pick the wrong team.
No, I'm getting to a good point. We could say that, or I could show them a video of, a last minute winner and that person's reaction. That's conviction. Do you know what I mean? That's how you tell us you really support them. So like that bleeds through. It's the same with like someone's recording a video, and it might be one of the first times they're doing it, and they're using like a teleprompter app, or CapCut's got that feature as well, and you can see their eyes moving across the screen. It's like, you're not even a human, you're just a robot. Like, now you're not doing it for me, you're doing it for you. Because you're putting now I can see behind the mirror that I don't want to see, the fourth wall that we don't want to break, in the fact that you're making this content for you, not for me.
And then you see the ones who've used something like Descript to have the eyes not follow. And they're just looking down the camera and they've got the eyes straight down, they don't move.
Psychopath. Serial killer content.
With a lot of the conversation that we've just had there is around like the creatives and the concepts that like we like to see people trying the different touch points and that. But and I know you can go through TikTok and people will say that it's all about your creatives. It's the only thing that matters. And yes, it is probably one of the, if not the most important thing. But how important is copy and messaging?
It's more important than creative, because you can't have a good creative without having good copy. because the words that are said in the creative are copy. The text that is on an image is copy.
Yeah.
Everything branches away from copy. It's the single, I'll absolutely die on this hill, it's the single most important skill in marketing, bar none. Yes, when people kind of separate, it seems easier to separate creatives and copy. Sometimes I think because the people see it as two different sections of the ad, but actually copy is, in a sense, it's a video script. It's the words on the image. It's the words on your funnel. Like, you can have a great creative, but then if they go to a funnel that's written like a 2-year-old wrote it, or like Grant Cardone's flipping had 45 Red Bulls, and they're like, bro marketing. What was that message that you got the other day?
My God, it was absolutely insane.
Talk about a lack of resonance.
Right, so the message that I got the other day, I don't know who it is. I'm not going to name the person, but got a message, you there, bro. No, it didn't actually. It didn't. The first message said to us, are you just stacking wins in the background and you're going to celebrate them later, bro? And then I was like, well, I'm obviously not replying to that message. Then I got another DM saying, bro, are you there? No, still haven't replied to you. Not there. Bro, are you still stacking wins? And this went on for about 8 messages, and I'm expecting, looking at the floor, that I'm going to get another one today or tomorrow. But that sort of stuff doesn't work, man. Come on.
And it's but the thing is, though, that's a perfect example of a complete lack of resonance. Like, that is, you've got, if people don't talk like that, they're going to see through it.
But I know how that's happened.
Even people that talk like that are going to see through it as well.
Yeah, but that's happened because he's joined some sort of community, online coaching community, which is fine. And then they've said, look, I'm not even going to name the guy, but you know who I'm talking about. They've joined some coaching from someone, and they've just said, right, what you need to do here is just go and hammer people in the DMs. And I couldn't be more put off with someone.
Yeah.
You've got to allow the person. So when your content's getting fed out to people, you've got to build up that trust and relationship, but they've got to be the one to decide that they're going to get in touch with you. Like, even if you're using the chat stuff, right? All right, DM us this word and I'll send you it. They've still kind of done like a soft opt-in at that stage. It's not me just going to someone and just absolutely blasting the DMs. They've got to have that opt-in. They've got to want to come to you, but they're going to do that by you creating good quality and authentic content.
Yeah, definitely. Going back to copy. Copy is 100% just like that DM. Like, it's not good copy. He's just see what he's trying to do, but it's everything branches away from copywriting. So, and it becomes, you've got to make sure that you speak like your audience, and what you want to do is make sure that you can articulate their problems in their mind better than they can. Because when you do that, they'll automatically assume that you have the solution as well. And if they do that, then they trust you as well. If you can articulate, your trust goes through the roof. So it's about finding little ways. Copy is, for me, the best. It's really the only way. It's just how it's presented. That's what, because everything is words. It's communication at its most fundamental basis. So it's about making sure that you can resonate and cut through. Like, you want to feel like someone's like can't stop reading it almost. It's like, oh my God, that resonates so much.
That you're talking directly to them.
But also in the way that they think about it as well. And there's a lot, people think that doesn't go on, but it really does. So it's just about, and it doesn't matter how many, I can promise you, it does not matter how many chat GPT prompts or whatever it might be. You can go from, what it's doing is just making people that aren't that good at copy a little bit better. It's not, because what people forget is that the experts as well are also using ChatGPT. They're just getting more productive.
Yeah.
They're just getting faster and better.
It stands out a mile as well.
An absolute.
It stands out a mile.
Absolute mile. It's the formatting of it, the even just the language. Because, and again, people forget, like, it guesses, it works on it guesses what the next word's going to be, and that's how the actual AI works. Yes, it's incredibly smart and it's an unbelievable tool. I use it every day.
Everyone uses it.
Yeah, if you don't use it, you're an idiot.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think it's about knowing the difference and how to use it and how you actually put it to use. If you try to get it to just do things for you. And I think loads of people are focused. There's definitely like markets that you can certainly make money just by using it. But for like to build a proper coaching brand, mentorship, whatever you want to call it, you've got to have that authenticity and uniqueness of, this is me, this is what I do, this is what I'm going to help you achieve, because we've got this thing to say that, I can do it. And this is how I'm going to help you. And you got to, that authenticity is something that ChatGPT can't produce.
Yeah.
It needs to just come out of you. And you can definitely get it to write stuff, and you can edit it and put your own tone and stuff like that on it. But that uniqueness is going to be the thing that scales everybody.
Yeah. Well, everyone does use ChatGPT or other AI tools, but it does stand out a mile when people are just kind of going for volume and not quality.
Yeah.
It really stands out. But it was funny because when we were coming up with ideas, like, right, what we're going to start with on this podcast, what are going to be the topics, and when we're doing more content, I was like, yeah, I'm really struggling getting some authentic, and I was probably leaning into ChatGPT too much. And then when you said to us, when you were like, look, upload one of the scripts from one of the meetings or one of the coaching calls and get it to use your tone of voice and get ideas that way. The quality the ChatGPT give me versus just a prompt was insane.
Yeah.
And then it's about getting that authentic content, but you can't just export it and use it. You've still got to tweak it. You've still got to make it your own. But you've got to be able to give ChatGPT or any AI tool the right kind of prompts, the right questions, and then tailor it and tweak it.
Yeah.
Because it stands out a mile if you don't do that. But it is a great tool, though. Yeah, it's great for ideas.
Phenomenal. It's phenomenal. You just got to know how to. And I think, and again, on the copywriting side, if you're not an expert if you don't know your customer avatar like the back of your hand, if you don't know exactly what they're going through and have been through, what we would call like the mental and emotional states, then you don't know the right things to say. And if you don't know them, then you're not telling them to ChatGPT, therefore it can't produce them, right? So you've got to, the people that aren't that good at copy don't realize that the thing that's spitting out copy that's 100 times better what they can produce isn't actually producing good copy. It's just better than theirs.
Yeah, I think it reads well.
Yes,
it goes back
just
to
reads better than theirs.
It goes back to the conversations that we used to have when I'm going back years ago, but it has changed because of AI. But let's say pre-AI, a lot of people's social media posts sound like a corporate email.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Hi, Jamie. What are you like? Do you know what I mean? Or like it used to sound like a corporate email, and I think ChatGPT's fixed that, but now it's presented like another problem.
Yeah, I agree, definitely. Going back to I know we were talking earlier about little tweaks and stuff that we see in ads that need to be fixed for coaches and consultants. I think that a lot of people can't wrap their heads around the fact that interests and detailed targeting doesn't really work anymore.
Yeah.
As an example, so probably should touch on this earlier, but in that campaign that we run, where each ad set is just organized by a concept, there is no targeting. It's just set at the geographical locations, the gender and the age, and then obviously you want to exclude who you need to exclude, but that's it. There's no targeting done whatsoever. The reason for that is because the algorithm essentially outsmarted what it was built for. So them interests and stuff, first of all, they don't measure sentiment. So the example I always use is if somebody hates Donald Trump, somebody selling the MAGA, Make America Great Again hats, the red hats, if they use Donald Trump as an interest, they're probably going to get hit with that ad. Because if you talk about how much you hate Trump, it doesn't measure that sentiment. It just realizes that you talk about him. Now, the algorithm is smarter to know the difference. But so the fact that it doesn't measure sentiment means that it's basically useless. But the AI, that's now, the Advantage Plus stuff that's being built onto the platform is so powerful that it completely outsmarted. I mean, even before that, it was outsmarting itself. So I don't remember, but the interests, there was a little checkbox that came. Check this box if you allow us to serve your ads outside of your selected interests if we feel like it will provide better results or if we see better results potential. And you could check that box and it would do so. Then they took that checkbox away and said, we're just going to do it anyway. Like, you've got no choice. Doesn't matter what you select here. Now we're gonna serve them outside anyway, because people selecting them were just knacking things up. Like there was just, and now the same thing, like you can't do it. It tries its hardest to actually hide it from you, because the interests don't work anymore. But the way that you do your targeting, there's a saying out there that's like your creative is the new targeting. It's been that way for us since what, 21, 22, but
5 years.
It's again, it comes back to the copy. You've got to talk like your avatar types on the platform in order to be able to recognize them and get the things that they're interested in. So that copy, which is one of the easiest things that the platform's going to pick up, is the words that you use. That's how you do your targeting, and the types of creatives, the types of what is said, because if it can transcribe, if it can create auto-generated captions, then it knows what you're saying. So it knows all of that content inside of there as well. So making ads that fit the specific person is the absolute key.
If you want to test how powerful the algorithm is, and this is a task that you've seen me do like quite a few times. So if you just want to really test Facebook's kind of own targeting when you're going broad, just go and interact with 2 or 3 high ticket coaches or consultants on Facebook, and then watch your timeline get absolutely bombarded. And then if you really want to test it, just go on a couple of websites or pages on Facebook or Instagram of things that you wouldn't normally search for. Like I don't know, let's just say a holiday. Let's say you go on a holiday website. You're going to start getting absolutely bombarded with that creator, because that's how the targeting works anymore. You do not have to go and select high ticket coaches, consultants. You're going to get fed content based on what you've previously been doing. And it's when these people go, oh, Facebook's listening to us, by the way, and it's not that. You're just doing things you don't realize you're doing. You might stop when you're scrolling through Facebook like this. You might just stop on something for 3 seconds, 4 seconds, and then scroll on. And then Facebook's earmark on that and goes, oh, he stopped on that. Do you know what? I'll test another bit of content. Could be from a competitor, from that person. And this is a good point that we can talk about later. But that's how it works. It's going to start serving you content based on what you've been engaging with, and that's how the targeting works. And that's why we've been doing broad targeting for how long? Since 2021. And what you're saying, the influencers, all the bros on TikTok are saying they found this new way. It's not. It's because this is what works. And if you're doing interest, you're trying to restrict their algorithm. You don't want to do that.
And you just get in the way.
Yeah.
And that's why Meta, and another thing that people forget is Meta has the exact same result. Meta or Facebook, Instagram ads, they want you to get as rich as you can physically possibly get, because you're going to give them more money for the ad spend, and that's the entire business model, is the ad side of the platform. So they want you to be successful. So when you think about it as they're a business partner, and they're now, all they're doing by changing the platform is limiting advertisers' ability to mess it up, to turn it to shit, basically, because that's what people are doing. And they do things like ABO ad set budget optimization, and then they'll do like different interest stacks. We've seen this with a multi-million-dollar, one of the biggest sales companies in the world for high ticket coaches. They had a coaching program that a client joined and wanted to test their ad strategy out directly against ours, which we were really, I don't want to say we were offended, but we were like, well, why are we here if you're just going to do that? But we're given the benefit of the doubt, and we knew exactly what would happen. And what happened was we used the same ads, the same post IDs, put it in their structure with a daily budget, put it in our structure with a daily budget, in separate campaigns on an A/B test, and their interest stacks, or their ad sets were interest stacks. Different. I think they were grouped, like one of them was like, the way that they decided to organize in their head, like it was some genius thing, was like do people, and then the other one do interest subjects or things. So like there was like individual people interests, and then individual things interests, and like that was somehow gonna, I've got no idea what.
I need to start recording your face when I see you open the ad account for the first time, and you see them. Do I call it a mess? Unorganized, unorganized ad account. I need to record your face.
Do you know what it is? It's not even their fault. They just don't. I think they just don't understand the platform. Like, and as soon as we put it, we used the same post IDs in our campaign, and we had one ad set at the time, and it was a post IDs ad set. So it was an ad set with those post IDs in, completely broad to the selected country, and it was 34% cheaper CPA. because and again in an ABO campaign, people don't realize what's going on. So they'll have an ad set of a creative with its own budget, and then another ad set. Let's say that you've got people like to build creative testing campaigns, right? The reason that is a really bad investment is because it is, first of all, it's a false environment. It doesn't work how they think it works, because let's say that you've got 5 ad sets, they're all testing different creatives. One of them starts doing better and they start scaling the budget on that. That isn't doing better because that is there by itself. There is no way to know that people haven't seen 2 or 3 other of those ad sets first, and then they're seeing this other one, and that third touch point, second, third, fourth touch point is what's making them convert. Because in the same way that they see your competitors' ads, they see all of your other ad sets that are inside of that campaign as well. So like there was multiple touch points inside of there. So an individual ad set success isn't because of that ad set alone. It's just not how it works. And if you start to see, and now it was something that started happening last year or maybe the year before, is that influencers in the ad space came up with this new term of scale them where they are, because we're running these creative test campaigns, which just means like every time I put it in the scaling campaign, it stops working. So I'm just going to scale it here by itself, but because it's just it's an inefficient setup. And in fact, if you went to an investment banker or a financial advisor and said, right, I've got this set up, tell us what you think of it as an investment. I'm going to spend 20 or 30% of my budget on tests that I never plan to scale, test it in an environment, and then move it to a brand new environment. Is that going to laugh you out the room? Absolutely laugh you out the room.
I almost feel like when we've taken on people, this is more when we've been consulting with people rather than just managing ads. We've always had questions fired back that were based on how simple our structure has been.
Yeah.
Almost as if that there's no way that's going to work.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of questions that have came back, and it's like, just test it. Let's just see what happens. And then the conversation's always like, fair enough. That outperformed.
Yeah. And then the biggest differences are just messaging changes. Mm-hmm. Like, what are you saying to the person? Because that's it.
Yeah.
Like, that's all there is. However, what mental, cognitive, emotional state, whatever you want to call it, where are they at in their minds when they see your ad, and what is going to be the thing that they need to hear to take them to the next step?
The funny thing is as well, when it would just talk about like meta ads for like as directly, people always think there's some sort of magic fix. So like if the ads, let's say we know the funnel's tuned in, they've got a funnel that's proven, we know the sales, or if they're selling directly on a workshop or a webinar, we all know that's dialed in. Let's say we just know for a fact it's an ads problem. Mm-hmm. People always want to hear some like magic bullet or like some magic solution that's going to fix it. But a lot of the time, the answer is make better creative.
Yeah. Make better ads.
Make better ads.
Make better hooks, better ads, better creative.
Or more of them. They might be fatigued. Yeah. You might have already had excellent ones that have performed well. Just make more. Mm-hmm. And you need. Sometimes it is a volume. You've got to retain quality. You've got to retain your messaging. But sometimes it's a numbers game.
Yeah. A lot of times it is. I think we've done quite a few. I mean, there's intricate lessons inside of that. Managing, consulting on $11 million in the last 180 days. There's a lot of things that also go on behind the scenes in terms of you have to know your numbers. You've got to have the right offer. But the communication of that through ads is the only thing there is to focus on. Forget that it's not 2014 anymore, where interests are this thing where it's like, if you're selling dog treats, do you know that you can actually target people who have got dogs, like dog owners? Like, no, it's not. It's
I still see people advertising that.
I know it's so smart now that you just need to weaponize it. That's all you need to do when you weaponize it with the right messaging, with the right creatives, with things that cut through, and you do that by knowing your avatar better than the person you sleep beside at night.
Thanks for watching the High Ticket Handbook podcast. If you want to see more content from us, make sure you hit the subscribe button, jump over to Instagram and give us a follow.